Sprint race, sprint race, sprint race. What a sprint race. Let me start by saying Lewis Hamilton got a good start, a very good one, from his British rival Lando Norris, and he was able to push him a little bit, not just a little bit, push him off the track, in which Lando Norris was unable to control and ended from first, ending in around 7th before the end of the first lap. Now, Lewis Hamilton led 9 laps. That is the best he has done in close to 50 races. The last time Lewis Hamilton has led a lap in Formula 1 was Abu Dhabi 2021. That is massive and that is crazy. Well, it's all Mercedes shenanigans, rubbish and rubbish. The only positive thing the Mercedes were able to have today was the rain helped them. Aside from the rain helping the Mercedes today, there is no other thing the Mercedes W15 did right. You know, I said in the preview to this Chinese Grand Prix, others were bringing upgrades. Some have brought upgrades, some are doing some little things to the car, but Mercedes are only telling us that this track will be different. Every track is going to be different. I don't know when the tracks will be much more different than they are now, because the car don't look different. To me, the W15 is worse, not competitive at all. I can tell you that. The low speed corner, Lewis Hamilton complained from lap 4 that he is struggling to turn the car. Right behind him was Fernando Alonso. Was able to wade him off, but immediately the struggling Max Verstappen was able to come alive with his car, sort his battery issues out, got past Fernando Alonso. It was inevitable he would get past Lewis Hamilton and lose it, and immediately Max Verstappen got past Lewis Hamilton. He took 1.6 seconds away from Lewis Hamilton on that lap alone, and subsequent laps he was taking around 1.2 to 1.4 seconds and finishing the race in just 10 laps ahead of Lewis Hamilton, 13 seconds ahead of him in 10 laps. Kilo day. That Red Bull is another thing. It's another level. The Ferrari have gotten close, but they are not close enough. It's already telling us who is winning this Chinese Grand Prix already, because this is another win for Max Verstappen, except something tragic happened. And I can see the 2 Red Bulls, 1-2, and the Ferrari with them. Aside from that, in this race, nothing again, forget about it. We are going to qualifying soon, but let me give you some little things about the race. The most important and the most interesting part of the race was the tussle from Alonso to Lando Norris, and that was great for about 12 laps. They were doing some great racing until they got to lap 14, and they had the best race we could see this season, with Fernando Alonso covering them up but lost it. Sergio Perez was the biggest gainer. Fernando Alonso was the biggest loser. Sergio Perez pinching 2 places to go 3rd, and at that point trying to chase down Lewis Hamilton, it was too late for him. Lewis Hamilton was about 4 seconds ahead of him. He got about 1.7 seconds away from him in 3 laps, but already too late. During Fernando Alonso's tussle with his compatriot Carlos Sainz, he bulged his tire, pinched his tire, and that was this race for him. He changed the tire, but there is nothing he could do again. It was already too late. They had to retire the car. The Ferraris had another nail-biting, serious terror fight today. They had a battle. I think they will need to face themselves during their debrief session to really analyze and talk about what happened, because they didn't give it a good go on themselves. They really lost it out, and the 2 of them need to talk about it, because this is getting feisty, and if they continue like this, yeah, I know Carlos Sainz is fighting for his seat, Charles Leclerc is fighting for the team, but I think both of them should be fighting for the team for now, though Carlos Sainz needs to get a seat also, so they need to talk about it and know how they will fight without hurting each other or destroying their cars or doing some rubbish, seriously, because they really need to get it right. And if Charles Leclerc is fighting like this, it will be a great battle between him and Lewis Hamilton next year if they have a good car. For the next 2 years, 25-26, if they have a good car, it'll be a great battle. So I don't know how they are going to do it. And to Sergio Perez charging towards the W15 towards the end of the race, he did a good job, but there was nothing he could do. He's grained his tire in the battle for 3rd position while he was in 5th, and that was the best he could do. Fernando Alonso, good job. He was unable to hold it to the end of the race, but he had a very, very good display today, although he lost his tire and had to retire the car, but that was great. Max Verstappen, I said it, 10 laps, got 13 seconds out of the rest of the grid, especially out of Lewis Hamilton. That is insane. That is insane. A great drive from him, great recovery. But at the end, Inspector Lewis Hamilton kept on inspecting the RB20, looking at that car like, what have you guys done? No cooling fins, but you guys have a lot of air ducts. What have you guys done? But Waschei and Andre Newey doing a very good job on that RB20 has given that car a new level of supremacy and dominance. And I can tell you, for any of these teams to catch up, they need to go and work hard. One of the sprint race, I tell you, it was very interesting. A lot of scores for the race director and the race stewards to sort after this race, because there are lots of infringements in which they will need to look at. And let's see how these teams can sort out their learning and improve the car for qualifying and for race tomorrow. But like I said, the race tomorrow seems done already. It's just written all over it. Red Bull, Max Verstappen, Red Bull, and one Ferrari. That's how it seems. And for qualifying, if it still remains damp like it was during the sprint race, it was all damp all through the sprint race, low temperature. If it still remains the same, maybe the Mercedes can come close in qualifying again. But tomorrow is going to be dry. The race will be dry all through. What a great sprint race. So, after a very strong and exciting sprint race, early this morning, we had another enthralling qualifying for the race. It was damp this morning, but we had a lot of sun in the qualifying, though the rain will still come down later in the day. But it was sunny all through qualifying, and the first part of qualifying, we had Lewis Hamilton out, picking up the 18th position out in Q1. What happened? A lot of teams made a lot of setup changes because they are out of Parc Fermé after sprint race, and they are going back to Parc Fermé immediately after the qualifying. So I think from what Lewis Hamilton said and the team said, they made a lot of setup changes just to see what they can do better from what they got from the sprint race early this morning, and that was early afternoon in China. And that was wonderful because Sergio Perez almost got out in 15th also, clocked 15th. And the biggest story of the day was Lewis Hamilton, after a strong sprint race, out in Q1. So Zhou Guanyu out in Q1, coming 16th, Kevin Magnussen 17th, Lewis Hamilton 18th, Tsunoda 19th, and Logan Sargent. A big switch turn for him, but he was able to come out of the turn and still clock 20th on the grid. Now Q2, a quick red flag which lasted about 10 minutes, struck by Carlos Sainz while he was trying to set his beautiful time, but unfortunately he clipped himself on the gravel and he became a passenger in the car as the gravel spun him around into the barriers. And into the barrier as he goes, he lost the front wings. Not much damage to the car, but he got that really wrong, and he came out after the red flag and set some beautiful time to put his car in the top position in Q2, with Lance Stroll out in Q2, Daniel Ricciardo out in Q2, Esteban Ocon out in Q2, Alex Albon out in Q2, and Pierre Gasly out in Q2. In that order from 11th to 15th. Now Carlos Sainz was able to pull through to Q3, while Bottas, doing a decent job, was able to pull through to Q3 also. That is a very, very great job from Bottas. And taking the pole, no other person but Max Verstappen. And this looks like a Red Bull race. Like I said earlier today, is a Red Bull race. But McLaren came up after changing their setup and giving us some good vibes about their car. And also Alonso had the good vibes on his car because he said he made some setup changes also that took his car forward, which is great for him. But Max Verstappen setting a time that is about 5/10 away from everybody, creating a social distance and telling them he's still ahead, and for now he's the best driver with the best car on the grid. With the social distance he created, about 3/10 away from even his close compatriot, his teammate Sergio Perez, giving a little social distance with a nose mask to take pole position for the day. Sergio Perez coming second, Fernando Alonso at 42. Great job for him. He's going to clock 42 in July and doing a very decent job here, defying it all, saying no age, I'm not aged. With the two McLaren coming behind him and the two Ferraris, something is wrong with the Ferraris, we don't know, but they have a good tire management and they had good race space. So let's see if they can use their good race space. But I still believe one Ferrari will be on the podium, though they had a bad day. Great job for Hülkenberg, George Russell, and Bottas, giving it all out. We know that the Mercedes W15 is a bad shitty car. From what we are looking at, is that turning through the slow corners, and the upgrades the Mercedes needs to bring, I think I've said it a lot of time, the floor, the rear, and the engine cover, because these things are making them lose time. And even on this track, on the slow corner, they are finding it difficult to turn. They cannot just turn the car, and I think they have a lot of work to do to put the car in a great space for the race tomorrow. Will Lewis Hamilton be able to bounce back and claim some points tomorrow? We are yet to know, because the points are out there for grabs, but can they really claim the points? Up until tomorrow for the main race. I love you guys. Bye. Chi. Yo.